fake it to Gurley. They throw it to Kupp. Down the sideline. Cooper Kupp stays in. Touchdown. And the lead is now 2.
Welcome to another Clash of the Horns, and the Rams have tasted defeat for the first time in 2018 by Who Dat Nation. The Rams have lost to the Saints in which I consider the best game in the week. It should have been prime time. This game was prime time material all the way through, and the Rams are really duking it out with the New Orleans Saints from this very start. Both scored 2 touchdowns pretty quickly. Here come the Saints giving it to Kamara, the Saints giving it to Mike Thomas, and the Saints are just basically using their best players and shredding the Rams the whole game. If I tell you the truth, the Rams basically lost to Mike Thomas, and they made no adjustments to stop Mike Thomas at all, with Marcus Peters, aka Burnt Toast player of the game, getting basically beat down with Mike Thomas on almost every single play, and really made no adjustments to stop him. If you want to see how much Mike Thomas contributed to this win for the Saints, look no further than these stats. Mike Thomas having 211 yards receiving, 1 touchdown, and everyone else had like less than 67 yards. It was that bad, which makes me kind of question Wade Phillips' stinkiness in this game. Like, did he really think that Marcus Peters, who has struggled all season, was gonna stop Mike Thomas from shredding us left and right? I think it was like after the first quarter, I was saying, you know what? I think Mike Thomas is the only guy they're gonna throw to. So if they can stop them, they have a chance of winning this game, and they made no adjustments. So I was thinking, well, okay, well, somehow, some way, the Rams are still going to win. Obviously, you're going to think, well, the Rams have done this before. They've beaten the Packers, and they've beaten, the Seahawks and other teams like this. But the Saints really came to play, man. Drew Brees with no blemishes, no interceptions, had 4 touchdowns. Had about, let's see, what was his stats for the game? Because I honestly thought Drew Brees is when they keep hyping up Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, I'm like, do they not know that Drew Brees is still alive and breathing? Because that's all the NFL talks about. And I know the New Orleans Saints fans gets annoyed by that, but I always give Drew Brees respect, man. I think he's a baller, man. With 4 touchdowns, 346 yards throwing, and basically he was just very calculated in his throws. There were at times where the Rams couldn't get any pressure in the interior or the exterior. I know we didn't get any sacks on Drew Brees this game. We did get in his face a couple of times, and Aaron Donald did get pretty close to getting a sack. But Drew Brees is a bad man. He ended up escaping the pocket at times when he felt the heat, and made things happen when it looked like he was going to go down. And I think one of the things that really destroyed the Rams' chances of winning this game, controversial play. The Rams go for a field goal. Johnny Hacker's out there he's out there about to hold the ball for Greg Zuerlein to kick it. And then he fakes it and he runs for the first down. Something that the Rams are basically known for is their special teams and how they can use the special teams at their advantage. And here comes Johnny Hekker getting the ball and running for the first down, which looked to be a first down. And that's what I thought it was. I thought he extended his arm with the ball going forward, the forward progress, getting that first down, but his knee touches the ground while he was extending. And this ended up turning the tide because Samson Ebukam ended up creating a forced fumble, which the Rams, if they were going to win this game, need to score some points. And you can go and blame Sean McVay all you want, or like we've never done that the whole season up until this point. A lot of fans were saying, well, maybe Sean should have been too aggressive. That's his thing. Sean McVay said in press conferences, he's never going to apologize for being aggressive. And so far we were 8-0 up until this point. And the Rams ended up getting it overturned, and the Rams basically had to play defense. And that's when, Drew Brees and company started going up the field, scoring. And then they have, I think, maybe a minute and a half left, and then Aaron, what's his name? They had a minute left, and then Jared Goff throws an interception right there, close near our 50-yard line, and here comes Drew Brees again with the Saints, and I think at that time they were up 35 to 17, if I'm not mistaken, and the Rams really messed up. That one play really contributed to them being down for so much, because I think our defense just wasn't up to par with their offense. They really have a good team to go against our defense, because they got a great offensive line, especially on the edge, and they just have a good enough offensive line to stop our brawlers from getting after Drew Brees. And they were trying, man. Aaron Donald, Dominican Sue, Michael Brockers, those guys were trying their best, trying to get after Drew Brees, and just couldn't do it. And we ended up trying to blitz him at times, and we just couldn't do it. Their offensive line just did a good job. There's some times when there's some it didn't get called. So one thing about this game as well is the Rams had the most penalty yards, and I don't think the Saints even got one penalty, which was like, okay, this doesn't make sense, because there's always holding in games, and I've seen times when the Rams were getting holded as well, but nothing was called against the New Orleans Saints. And I kind of have a theory. Against a home team, usually the referees, they're going to call it for the home team, because there's like that emotional crowd response. You also don't want to upset the crowd. Some of these refs get really, they honestly are like one away from throwing a flag at times when there's good coverage from our corners. Like when Marquise Christian made a really good play against some of these wide receivers. I forgot the name. See, this is the reason why I was like, I can't make a video for the Saints, because they basically don't have any wide receivers other than Mike Thomas and Kamara and Ingram. Just cover those name brand guys and you're going to be fine. But the Rams did none of that. Or they were unable to, because Mike Thomas would just get wide open as well. Because, I mean, Marcus Peters is playing bad. And he even said he's playing bad. And when a guy, this is the thing about Marcus Peters. His press conferences are, to me, funny. Because he had so much attitude. Like, you can't question the guy, or else he'll give you a question back, or he'll talk back somehow, or throw some shit at you. Marcus Peters got burnt, and he knows it. He knows he got burnt. He got destroyed by Mike Thomas, which leads me to believe, is Marcus Peters really a number one corner, or was he always a product of the system that he was in Kansas City? Because he always had a pretty good corner on the other side, which made it to the point where I basically think he's a zone type of corner. He's not a man-to-man type of guy like Aqib Talib, because Aqib Talib we know is a proven product, a proven corner on the outside, and you basically can't trust Marcus Peters to be man-to-man against anyone. He's always getting beat by his wide receiver. And there's instances where you're thinking, wow, Marcus Peters isn't that good, because he's showing, rather than being a leader, he's just one of those guys in the back that's just getting burnt. Like you expect a guy like Marcus Peters with the type of name that he has, the type of stats that he has, he would have more than what he's done with the Los Angeles Rams. I know the only good game he's had was the game against the Raiders and the game against the Cardinals. And then after Aqib Talib gets hurt against the Chargers, he's out there getting burnt. So, I mean, you would think some people were going to get scared going against the Los Angeles Rams or the Los Angeles pass defense, or in the no-fly zone 2.0, and the Rams haven't been that ever since Aqib Talib has been hurt. So we're going to have to wait and see what these Rams are all about when Aqib Talib gets back. But we were just getting beat. Their one wide receiver was destroying our secondary. It didn't matter if we were going in zone coverage. It didn't matter if we were going man-to-man. And I honestly don't think we made the right adjustments to go against Mike Thomas. And it could also be because they know that they were going to use Kamara as a receiving running back, which he's really good at. And Corey Littleton was doing his best, and so was Nickel Roby-Coleman. But it just wasn't good enough. Drew Brees didn't get sacked. So, I mean, you got to credit to their offensive line for playing pretty good. you got to give, shout out to Drew Brees, because Drew Brees was balling out. There's no way about that. I think Drew Brees has, I forgot how many touchdowns he has, but he has very little interceptions. I think he might have probably less than 3 interceptions this whole season. So it could also be a product of him being that good and not turning the ball over. But Jared Goff did turn the ball over, and I think the 2 things that really screwed us in this game was that attempt by Johnny Hekker, which we didn't get, and also at that same series of downs where we didn't score any points that close to their end zone. We just didn't score any points. We couldn't score any points against their linebacker core is pretty solid. Their corners are pretty good. And their defensive line is actually, I think, one of the best in the NFL. They just don't get the credit that they deserve. But I saw instances where Roger Saffold, man, you got to calm your shit down, bro. Because I remember when he was getting manhandled, kind of like when Aaron Donald was manhandling the 49ers offensive line. He just basically getting pushed back by whoever was in front of you. And there was a point where he got an unsportsmanlike conduct call against him. But here comes Jared Goff trying to cool him off, and then he grabs Jared Goff's hands and pushes him down, because that is your quarterback. You don't do that. Yes, you're losing your cool. Yes, you're getting beat by that defensive line. But you just gotta calm down, because what that shows me is this guy could be a loose cannon, man. And I don't like that. If that's the case, I'd rather have Joseph Noteboom in the left guard position and have this guy sit a game down, because he better apologize, because that was uncalled for, especially on Jared Goff being your quarterback. And Jared Goff is a nice dude. He's really a cool, collected young guy, and you're out there basically putting his hands down for no reason. It just made no sense to me. Aaron Donald also got an unsportsmanlike conduct, even though they didn't show it on TV. I want to see what was that unsportsmanlike conduct. You can't just say, oh, Aaron Donald got unsportsmanlike conduct, but not show what happened. And that really bugged me. I'm probably going to have to go back on the NFL Game Pass and watch that. I think, Aaron Donald's press conference where he said, well, one of the guys was on top of me and wouldn't get off of me, so I tried to push him, and then that's when he got called for that. So it is what it is, man. The Rams got their first taste of defeat. Hopefully this is one of those games where it really puts them okay, you're beatable. So change the things that you're bad at, and maybe this could be a wake-up call for them in the future. And I still think the Rams will play the Saints in the NFC Championship game. I think we're that good, but we just have to play better than what we played, especially when you're supposed to score points on certain plays, like when we got that forced fumble, but then you didn't score any points. And those were probably, to me, one of the easiest points to score against one of the secondary that was struggling. And they were struggling all game. You had the blueprint. You were throwing down to Robert Woods. You were throwing down to Cooper Kupp, who had an awesome touchdown. Don't get me wrong. I was don't call it a comeback when we made it 35-35. This was a tied game, man. And we didn't come out with the victory, but I really like the way that we, even though we lost, we came out and played. And I got to give it credit to our guys, man, a young core of players. If you look at the Saints, they have been in this predicament for a long time where they were a really good offense. They just needed some defensive pieces, and they got their defensive pieces. Now you have a great offense, and I wouldn't be surprised if the next couple of series in their games, they end up losing some of these, because they're going to go against probably the hardest stretch of the season will be the next couple of games. The Rams have played the hardest stretch of the season. They got the Seahawks next. I think they have the Chiefs. Then you have your bye week. And then you have the Bears, Lions, back to the NFC West again with the Niners and the Eagles and the Cardinals. So those are winnable games for the Rams. They can really go out there and basically win all of their games, or maybe lose one of those games. But then you look at the Saints and you think, well, they got the they got the Panthers, they got the Bengals, I think they have the Ravens. I think they either play the Ravens or they got the Ravens. They still have some of the Buccaneers that gave them the first loss of the season. They have a tough schedule, and watch out for those that schedule, man, because I still think they're an NFC Championship caliber team, maybe a Super Bowl champion. Because I think if Drew Brees wins the Super Bowl this year, he's gonna retire. And what a way to retire as a Super Bowl champion, especially Drew Brees, who is out there, basically having all these records being broken this season. And no one gives him credit. Like, I'm pissed off for the Rams because the media is like, oh, well, the Rams ain't this and ain't that, even though they've been playing pretty good. But look at Drew Brees. I mean, he ends up beating the Rams, who are a really good team, to no fault of his own. He's out there just doing his thing, and he gets no credit. And that is insane to me, because I still think he's better than Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, except that his team has kind of let him down throughout a couple of years because their defense was just so trash. But he's out there throwing for like 4,000 yards and a bunch of touchdowns. I think he's given a bad reputation in the NFL because they don't really give him credit for that. But here comes Jared Goff, man. Jared Goff is one of those young guys that if you look at Jared Goff's young career and you kind of put that in perspective with Drew Brees' career, Jared Goff is playing good, man. He's out there competing. And if you would have looked at Drew Brees in the beginning of his career, you would have been like, wow, I see some similarities. I honestly think that if they keep saying that Jared Goff looks like Matt Ryan, but I don't think so. I think he's more of a Drew Brees type of guy in the way that he plays. But that's just me. So let me know what you guys think about this game. Yes, losing sucks, but I'd rather lose to a great team led by a great quarterback than lose to a really bad overrated, like a bad team, basically. Like, why did we lose to this team? And I'd rather lose to teams that we're supposed to lose than bad teams that we're not supposed to lose to. And I still think the Rams did a good job. The only thing is our defense has to step it up. And I'm not going to blame the pass rush because I think Dante Fowler helped out a lot. I think Dante Fowler is going to be a really good player for the Rams, especially when he gets acclimated to this defense. But we have to get sacks. And when you have that defensive line the way it is, you just have to make things happen. And they didn't. Aaron Donald didn't get a sack that he should have. On Ndamukong Suh, I don't think Ndamukong Suh created enough pressure in the interior that he should have. And our corners were playing very bad. As much as it hurts me to say this, Sean Payton did a really good job against Wade Phillips. And I don't like saying Sean Payton did a good job against Sean McVay because they don't play the same. They don't play against each other. Sean Payton did a really good job against Wade Phillips' defense. And he knew what he could do and how to attack us. And he did it basically by just using Mike Thomas, who I think is one of the best wide receivers, a top 5 receiver in the NFL, against burnt toast Marcus Peters. And that's what it was, man. They beat us. They beat us when they had to. And the Rams had the opportunity to win it, and they just couldn't get it done. So, credit to the Saints, credit to who that, even though it hurts me to say it. But at this point of the game, I can see why teams and NFL people would say that the Saints are the number 1 team in the NFC. We just have to take a ride back because we lost to them. We have to give them the respect, and the Rams are now the second best team in the NFC. So we'll see if the Saints can stay with that 15-1 record, then I would say they're the best team. But if not, the Rams have an easier schedule coming up. We already played some of the hardest teams we were supposed to face. I still think the Chiefs will be our hardest opponent. I think we'll beat the Seahawks at home. The Bears are, I think, the 4th seed in the NFC right now with a kind of bad record if you look at it. I mean, I think they're 5-3 or 5-4, but they're still there, and the Redskins are in that mix as well. But the Rams and the Saints, to me, are the 2 best teams in the NFC. And we have an easier schedule going on from here on out. So I think the Rams will be in the, at least they'll go in the first bye. They'll go through the first bye, and we will play a game in Los Angeles. And I will be there. But until next time, you guys, go Rams. Keep your heads up, man. It's just 1 loss. Trust me, there's teams out there that they only have 1 win and like 9 losses. So don't be discouraged. This could be a wake-up call. I really like what Michael Brocker said, that this is a wake-up call for us. It shows that we are beatable. It humbled us. And until next time, you guys, go Rams. Still the best team in the NFC West and the second best team in the NFC, in my opinion, right now. So if the Saints start losing, then the Rams are still up there. It doesn't matter what anybody says. The one with the best record is the best team in the NFL. But credit to the Saints. They made it happen, and they won. Until next time, you guys, go Rams.
Contract, you ought to give Sean McVay 10% because he's completely turned this kid's career in the right direction.
Wide open is the tight end Higbee. And Higbee breaks a tackle, quiets the crowd. Pass is caught by Woods, who just had it on the handoff. Now they send him out. Good for 12 and a first down.
On Eli Apple there.
Rams get the snap away. No challenge. That ball rolled at the end. Here's one for Cooks. The former Saint down inside the 15.
By Brandon Cooks. Good route on his part. He creates
screen. Second and goal. Goff. End zone. Touchdown Cooks. He helped get him down there, and he takes it in. Second down and 7. Play action. Goff protected wide open as Woods. And Woods out to the 41. Just got it away. No panic by Goff. The pass is to Cup.
Oh, man.
What a throw.
Things are going to have to happen if they're going to climb back into it.
Goff gets his. He throws. He finds his tight end, Everett. And Everett is able to break some tackles. Get out to the 40. One timeout left. Blitz coming from the Saints. The pass is to Woods and caught. And out of bounds inside Saints territory. Four-man rush. Goff, Everett. And he got him right back into position. 2 seconds left. They used the timeout.
Completions of 20 yards. And so they can come at you a lot of ways.
Here's one caught by Woods, looking to make a move. He's got a first down and more. Survived the hit at the end by Marcus Williams in a gain of 19.
Into this game as the #1 ranked running defense.
Second down and 10. Here's Woods again, and Woods with that stretch. Goff, just a strike. Third down and 7. Goff, pass caught. Tight end Everett. A conversion on third down. Quick snap. Goff pulls it back down. Finds a receiver. That's Brown. And Brown goes down the sideline. They mark him out at the 5 to set up first and goal. And now the other official says touchdown.
His best run of the day.
24 on that carry, had 34 total prior to that. Goff hangs in, tipped and caught. 65 on the day, a touchdown. They fake it to him, throw it to Cup. And after missing 2 games with an MCL sprain, the clock at 7. Good protection. Pass is over the middle and caught by Cooks. Second and 8. Pass is caught. That's Cup. They fake it to Gurley. They throw it to Cup. Down the sideline. Cooper Kupp stays in. Touchdown. And the lead is now 2. Just got it away. Everett with a